So today this is a video all about Grand Admiral Thrawn. So we know he's coming back in Star Wars Rebels Season 3, and I wanted to do a video to talk about what this means for Star Wars, what this means for what is and isn't going to be canon, and what this means for Star Wars gaming. So first things I want to talk about is what we know is already confirmed about Thrawn. First thing we know is that he is indeed Grand Admiral Thrawn. So even though he's coming back much earlier in the timeline than he was in the books, he's still the rank of Grand Admiral. So I had heard rumors that they were going to bring back Thrawn, but during the Rebels timeline, I thought he might have been, a lieutenant or maybe even a commander. But no, he's full-blown Grand Admiral. So already some of the canon has changed. His uniform is that of a Grand Admiral. He's got the white uniform. He also is, he's still got the same general look. He's got the blue skin, the red eyes. A lot of what we see of him in the Rebels Season 3 trailer is kind of what we would expect from Thrawn, so it seems like they've done a good job. We also know that they collaborated with Timothy Zahn to make him. So, and that's probably the best possible choice. So we know that he's going to very much feel like Thrawn, at least the Thrawn from the Heir to the Empire books. I've not read all of the other books that deal with everything else related to Thrawn. My first, introduction to Thrawn was the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So I'm expecting a Thrawn that I will feel familiar with. So we also see Islamir in the background. Now, that's probably just a throwback. Apparently, it had been asked, and Dave Filoni had said that it's more of just a throwback, so we're not going to actually see force-blocking creatures in the, in Season 3. That's more of a throwback to Timothy Zahn and the Heir to the Empire trilogy, and I'm totally fine with that. I don't necessarily need to see that whole plot device again. So what else from Heirs to the Empire is going to be canonized? What else from the Heir to the Empire trilogy do you guys think that we're going to see? Here's what I think is, some things that we might see and how likely it might be. First, Mara Jade. Now, she's not just an Heir to the Empire trilogy character. She was in many other things, but it was the first time we've seen her. I think there's a pretty high likelihood that she will become canonized, although I don't necessarily think she will be the hand of the Emperor and out to kill Luke Skywalker. And if we do see her, I think she will have a flavor similar to like the bad girl who eventually becomes medium or slightly good. I could see that. I could see her, if she shows up in Rebels, I could see her as being an antagonist, at least initially. But I also don't know if they might show a young Mara Jade, who's somebody who might end up marrying Luke Skywalker in the future. Maybe she becomes Rey's mother or something like that. Who knows? Or they may see she may be old in Rebels, kind of like they've been doing with Thrawn. I'm not sure. But I do think there's a high chance. She's a huge fan favorite. She's immensely popular. I think there's a pretty good chance that we will see her. Talon Karrde. Talon Karrde, I think there's a medium chance we'll see Talon Karrde. I think he was a good character. He's not exactly a fan favorite, but I think he's definitely, definitely has a strong place with the fans. He was very important to that trilogy, but I think there's other characters that kind of do what he does. Like in Rebels, it's Hondo. Hondo Ohnaka is very similar to Talon Karrde from my point of view. Not exactly the same. Maybe Talon Karrde would probably be a little bit closer to Han Solo than Hondo, but still very similar. So I could see that, but maybe and if they did Talon Karrde, I would also want to see the Wild Card, his ship, some of his crew maybe, and I would love for that to show up in games, specifically X-wing miniatures, and possibly even Armada, but specifically X-wing. Garm Bel Iblis. Now, Garm Bel Iblis is in a lot of other things, and I haven't read every single book yet, but as far as I know, he is not officially canonized yet. Now, in the comments, if I'm wrong, if I've missed something, and he's been canonized officially, then please let me know in the comments, because I couldn't find anywhere where he was. But he's in so many things in the EU, and he's a really founding member of the Rebellion, so I think he should. Absolutely. I think he has got a very high likelihood of showing up. Plus, he's easy to incorporate, right? He's easy to put in as a background character somewhere without having to rewrite his whole history and everything. They can just put him, in the background of a command room. It's very easy for them to do that. And I would love to see Star Wars Rebels eventually kind of get the scene with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma and Garm Bel Iblis and kind of have them meeting, you know, I mean, we've already seen Bail Organa, right? But, you know, I'd love to see, like, all of the founding members together, you know, especially, you know, towards the end of Rebels. That would be great. So I think a very high likelihood of Garm Bel Iblis. Gilad Pellaeon, or Captain Pellaeon. So this is the guy who was Thrawn's second, his number 2 guy, right? His and after Thrawn, you know, after Thrawn is no more, then he kind of goes on and learns a lot from Thrawn and evolves as a character. Very prominent character, but I think it would be very easy for them to add him. I think actually I'd give him a high likelihood of showing up because if you've got Thrawn, it's very easy that he'll be talking to somebody. And they may not actually name him. It's possible that they might just have a guy with, you know, a guy that might look like Pellaeon, and he might just be somebody that Thrawn talks to but doesn't name. But I think they'll have him. I think it's very easy for them to have him. So I give him a pretty high likelihood of showing up. From Heir to the Empire, also we have Joruus C'baoth. You know, the crazed, you know, crazy Jedi, former Jedi, lost his mind, and I give him an extremely low chance of actually showing up. He was only relevant to that story, and word has it, you know, rumor, or at least what I've heard, is that he was originally supposed to be a clone of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but they shot that down, so he just kind of Tim Zahn had to come up with a different name for him to kind of fill the same role, and it really doesn't have a place in Rebels. If they're going to do something like that, I think they would, you know, bring in Obi-Wan Kenobi for an episode or two, which is possible, you know. But I don't think we'll see C'baoth at all. He would be completely irrelevant to Rebels. He would be completely irrelevant to anything else that's going on in the timeline. So no chance, virtually no chance of him. The Nogri. I don't think we're going to see the Nogri. It's possible, but slightly better chance than Joruus C'baoth, but still pretty low because they were pretty much a plot device for the Heir to the Empire trilogy, and they don't really seem to extend beyond that world very much. And you know, they were originally supposed to be the Sith before they knew what the Sith were, and so they changed the names, and it just doesn't seem to fit in. So I don't think we're going to see the Nogri. Now, as far as ships, the Skip Ray Blast Boat. All right, I would love to see the Skip Ray Blast Boat. I think that's a very high chance, or at least a medium high chance that we'll see that, because it's pretty easy for them to add new ships. The only reason I don't give it a very high chance is that a lot of times they kind of want to add their own ships, and they want to make it, you know, maybe there'll be a throwback, maybe we'll see something that looks similar to the Skip Ray Blast Boat. They may not call it that, you know. But some other ships, like titles specifically. We've already seen Star Destroyers, but I'm hoping we see Thrawn's own Star Destroyer, the Chimera. I definitely hope that shows up. I know there's, like, in Armada, Star Wars Armada, would love to have an extra title, you know, some new ship titles. The Katana fleet, all right, so dreadnoughts. I'm really, really, really hoping we see dreadnoughts. I think it's a medium chance that we'll see them. Just because they're so different than the typical Imperial ships. But I would love to see some dreadnoughts, or it doesn't have to be the Katana fleet specifically from the Heir to the Empire trilogy, but I would love to see some dreadnoughts show up. And specifically for gaming, for Armada especially, I would love to be able to get some dreadnoughts into the game, and it could be a dual faction ship that both the Light and the Dark, or Empire and Rebellion, can both have. That would be awesome. But the chances of us getting that is pretty kind of low, but I'll say medium. I mean, just dreadnoughts would just be great for canon in general, because they can fit into everything. They can be anywhere. They fit all over the place. And I mean, it would be pretty easy to incorporate dreadnoughts. So now, what is going to happen to Thrawn? All right. Now we have to realize that we're going back beyond or before Episode 4, and so one of the problems, I think, when they're writing all of these new stories that take place all over the timeline is that there becomes some problems with consistency. So I'm worried, and I'm curious how they're going to end Thrawn's run on Rebels. Are they going to kill him? If they don't, and I hope not, I'd love to see more, potential for Thrawn. Or are they going to? If he doesn't die, then how come he's not mentioned in anything else? Now, obviously, the answer is because he was just, officially made canon. but you have to still explain it in the context of the story, because so many of the books that have been written, and I've read a couple lately that have referenced, a lot of powerful Imperial commanders of the past, like Life Debt, for example, which just recently came out. There's no mention of Thrawn. Now, I understand there couldn't be because he wasn't official yet, and it wasn't announced, it wasn't revealed, but you still have to kind of come up with an explanation that explains why this amazingly influential and powerful character of the past isn't mentioned throughout history books. I've talked to some folks, and they seem to think that maybe he'll be banished or exiled or sent on a secret mission or something to that effect, and I think that will probably work. I think that would be okay. Either that or he's going to die. I hope he's not disgraced and banished. I hope he's successful and sent on a secret mission or something to that effect. But I hope they do Thrawn justice, because it's very, kind of very scary to me, that they don't ruin this, And maybe we'll find more. Timothy Zahn has a Thrawn book coming out, and so that's going to be really exciting. I'm totally going to get that the day it launches and just dive right into it. I can't wait. And I imagine that's going to reveal different things than we'll find out through Star Wars Rebels. There is also the chance that Thrawn could show up in the movies. If he is in fact banished if he's banished, he could show back up, or if he's sent on a secret mission, he could show back up. And it would actually be, wouldn't it be awesome if he is sent on a really far-reaching mission beyond the range of communication, and he goes out into a different galaxy, perhaps, comes back 30 years later to find out their empire is no more, now there's the First Order, and maybe he doesn't agree with this, right? Or maybe he was responsible for bringing Snoke into the picture. Maybe he was sent to go retrieve some ancient dark side guy, maybe it'll explain Snoke's origin. Who knows? I don't think Snoke is anybody we've seen already. I don't think it's like, oh, Ezra is Snoke, Obi-Wan Kenobi's cloned corpse is Snoke. I don't think any of this stuff. I think Snoke is an all-new character, but what gets him into the story could be related to a character we know, and I think that's possible that it might be Thrawn that kind of brings about Snoke. I don't know, but tell me, what's your theories? What do you think is going to be canonized along with Thrawn that they haven't shown us yet? And how do you think they're going to end Thrawn's time on Star Wars Rebels? We know he's not on the Death Star in Episode 4, where all these great leaders were. All right, why isn't he there? Was he on Coruscant? Do you think he's still in the picture and just, behind the scenes? What do you think? Tell me what you think of Thrawn. What do you think they're going to do with him? And what do you really want to see canonized along with Thrawn? So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, comment, like, and subscribe. And have a wonderful day.